So we've gone from cow farts to cow burps. This is the Canadian government's idea of saving the planet. This from Global News. Canada wants to make cows burp less to fight climate change. Can't make this up, folks. Cutting methane emissions by making cows burp less is one of the strategies the federal government is going for in its climate change fight. Methane is a prominent greenhouse gas that that's produced during the normal digestive process of a herbivorous animal and subsequently released into the air when they burp, a process called enteric methane emissions, according to the Environment and Climate Change Canada. Wow. Have they come up with a new technology to actually get cows to burp less somehow? At least it's not some cap and trade program. Oh, hold on a second. What's this? Canada tackles methane emissions from cow burps with a credit plan. Yeah, that's right. Someone's going to get rich off of this. This is what this is all really about. This is Danielle Smith tweeting this one out. Incredibly, this is actually real. How is going after ranchers and dairy farmers a priority of this federal government? Completely ridiculous. It's because they want to put them out of business, Danielle. This is what they want to do, and this is what they've been trying to do in many countries. We've seen the farmers in the Netherlands go after their government and take over their government, and we've seen what's happening in France lately. Now, what is the plan here? What is their plan? They actually want to go after farmers with another tax credit game. The department is proposing financial incentives for farmers in the form of offset credits they can sell in lieu of cutting eccentric methane emissions from their beef cattle operations. That's right. So you can just continue to do things normally. That's fine, but you're just gonna have to pay a little payola over here. You're gonna have to pay a tax. It's another shakedown on farmers. Great job, federal government. But this is exactly what they've been doing. Here's Stephen Gibo giving an announcement about new measures that the government is going to take to the constituents that he represents. No, this is at COP28. This is him announcing to the other world leaders in his little club, the emissions club over at COP28.
We're now aiming for at least 75% reduction.
75% fewer methane emissions by 2030. Canada unveiled new draft regulations about how to get there and promised $30 million for a new methane center of excellence focused on tracking and reporting.
The accuracy and understanding of how much and where methane is emitted and that is reported properly is critical to achieving methane targets.
You got to report every single burp. Yeah, well, this is actually going after the oil and gas sector as well, as we knew this is going to happen. But is there a technology to make cows burp less? Well, the point of this new offset protocol is to reward ranchers and dairy farmers for using new feed additives that will help cut down on methane from their cows. Oliver Anderson, a spokesperson for the federal environment minister Stephen Gibo, said in an emailed statement to Global News Monday. I wonder who just bought stocks in that new feed additive. I wonder who's gonna get rich off of this one. Absolutely, this is the case. And after that announcement, Danielle Smith had a few words to say about Stephen Gibo and his announcement to a foreign group of foreigners.
With his pronouncement today, singling out the oil and gas sector alone for punitive federal treatment, Justin Trudeau and his eco-extremist Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, Stephen Gibo, are risking hundreds of billions of dollars in investment in Alberta's and Canada's economy and core social programs. They're devaluing the retirement investments of millions of Canadians, and they're threatening the jobs of hundreds of thousands of Albertans. And ironically, they're also significantly undercutting global emissions reduction efforts by effectively de-incentivizing capital investment by the oil and gas sector in the emissions-reducing technologies and fuels that the world needs Alberta to develop and share. This proposed cap also undermines the unity of our country, and Albertans will not tolerate it. Our province is simply done with what amounts to a steady stream of economic sanctions and punitive measures thrown upon our citizens and businesses to intentionally damage their livelihoods and the economic engine that disproportionately powers our national economy and the programs that Canadians rely on. So over the coming months, our cabinet and our caucus will develop constitutional shields in response to this and other recent attacks on our province by what is fast becoming one of the most damaging federal administrations in Canadian history. Alberta will continue to implement our emissions reduction and energy development plan to achieve a carbon neutral economy by 2050 through a combination of investments in emission reducing technologies combined with practical emission offsets.
So they do have a plan to go to a carbon neutral economy in Alberta. They just don't want to come to the table with Alberta and actually make negotiations. They just want to dictate to them what they're going to do. And Danielle Smith makes a really good, interesting point here. If we're not making clean energy in Canada, where do you think the energy is going to come from? It's going to come from the third world or from other countries where they don't have these, they don't have any regulations. They don't care. If it's global warming, if it's a global catastrophe that they're looking out for, don't you think that we should be looking at it in a global scale? We should produce the energy cleanly here in Canada like we do. Not in a dirty way like they do in other places. But hey, you know what? Just China, what was the old meme that China doesn't worry about climate change because they already have communism. That's really where we're at with that there. Now, she went on in another interview, in the same interview, to talk about it further.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, if the clean electricity regs go ahead, we will start creating natural gas power generation that, whether we fund it through a Crown Corporation or some other means, we will make sure that that gets built. That is not symbolic. That is, in actual point of fact, the truth.
And unfortunately, this might have to be the route that they go, because if there's, again, regime uncertainty, it's this whole concept of investors don't want to go into a place where, of course, there's massive risk if they're not going to put in their capital where the government's going to come in and just take it away from them. So they may have to, in Alberta, make a Crown Corporation in order to build the infrastructure to make this possible.
The Capital Power has said that under the current clean electricity regs, they will not invest in any more natural gas-fired generation. So we have said we will be the generator of last resort, and you'll just have to watch me if you don't believe me. That is what the Sovereignty Act was about, is it sending the indication that we are simply not going to comply with federal rules around this, and we are going to make sure that the power stays on and that we get the generation that we need. In this case, we'll do the same thing. If we have to, in some way, create some certainty so that we do not have a production cap, so we do not have our production shut in, we will also be the producer of last resort, whatever that may look like. We still have to do some consulting with the industry, and we have to consult with how we might implement that. But we are not going to allow our production, which we own, to be shut in by federal edicts. This is not their jurisdiction. We have the right to develop our resources. We're developing it responsibly. We're meeting our targets for carbon neutrality by 2050. And we simply don't believe they have the right to do this.
Absolutely. And obviously, if this was implemented, what is it going to result in? It's going to result in things that, again, are only seen in the third world. That's rolling blackouts, rolling brownouts, load shedding, that kind of things. The thing you might not even see unless you go to South Africa. Now, Marty Up North made a suggestion here. I kind of agree with this one. We'll be talking more about this when he comes on the show this week. If I was Danielle Smith, I would start rolling power and gas blackouts immediately. Give citizens 6 months of advance warning, publish the schedule long in advance, then cut the gas and power. First up, Edmonton, Strathcona, the ones that are voting for this stuff. Give it to them. We don't want to kill people. We just want them to experience the hardship that their ideology will bring to everyone else. Let the people who are actually voting for this stuff experience it firsthand, and then we'll see exactly what it is that they think about it when that's said. Now, we could always, it's amazing what the government is doing here. We're spending all this money on the environment elsewhere. Meanwhile, we're poor here at home. We're getting poorer and poorer every day. The Philippines and the United Nations Development Program has secured Canada's commitment for $5.3 billion of climate finance. What? The Trudeau Liberals are giving away billions more for of our tax dollars while Canadians can't afford housing and food. Unreal. This is right here from Reuters. They put it out there, and this is Paul Mitchell sharing this on Twitter, or formerly Twitter, now X. Now, I mean, the only way out of this one is to get rid of this government. This is really, at the end of the day, how we're going to avoid catastrophe. The catastrophe that we're looking at is an economic one, not a climate one. But hey, let that opinion get to you. This is a petition that's out there to get rid of this government. Call for a vote of non-confidence so we can go to an election. Now, this isn't binding or anything, but this could put in a vote of no confidence into the parliament. This was drafted by a citizen and then brought up. This is initiated by Melissa Outwater from Peterborough, Ontario, and then sponsored by Michelle Ferrari. So this has already got 258,000 signatures, but let's not let this one get drowned out, get more people to sign it, because there's already another petition with 286,000 urging Trudeau to do things about something in a foreign land that's happening on the other side of the planet. How about we deal with our own country and get more signatures going on this one? Email this to your neighbors, to your friends, everybody out there that's Canadian that might have this as a concern for them. The link is in the description down below, and let's get this happening, because as we're seeing it, Stuart here on Twitter just showing the week after week after week, it's the unpopularity of the Liberal Party is growing, and the popularity of the Conservatives is way up. It looks like when we do get an election, we're going to get an election that is going to be something memorable, somewhat memorable, and it'll go in a different direction for this country. So, hey, let me know what you think about this whole thing. Let me know what you think about cow farts. Cow farts. No, sorry, it's cow burps now. We don't even care about cow farts anymore. It's cow burps. This is the big concern of the federal government. Yeah, because they want to bankrupt our farmers. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.